South of the city, 77 for a high.
This is a
Tonight clearing
sound
at
check.
49. Tomorrow sunny and 70.
This is a sound check for this new camera I've got. It came with a waterproof case, and the only way you can mount it is with the case. And I'm like, well, how do I get the microphone in there? So I had to order a case for it so the microphone can go in while it's actually mounted. Yeah.
Idea.
This is Representative Joe Fisher, chair of the Northern Kentucky Legislative Caucus. For the past 8 years, Adia Wishner has stood tall for conservative
Oh my
values.
God, we're going to hear nothing but
Adia
political
has been a champion
advertisements.
for property rights with a 100% voting record for small business. Please join conservative Republicans all over Boone County and return Adia Wishner to Frankfurt on May 22nd.
And hopefully we will end up with a lot of conservatives, just like we did in 2010.
Osmocote, it's your yard, and you're the boss, and you need hard-working soils. Start with
The conservative silent majority went back to silent majority, and hopefully we'll have the same effect that we did in 2010 and 2012. This communist bullshit needs to go, man.
That's what being a great boss is all about. Buy Osmocote
It really
soils
needs
today
to
at
go.
this dealer.
Local trusted for over 30 years. White Oak Garden.
Did you ever think that this would ever happen, that we would come to the precipice of a communist takeover in this country? Nikita Khrushchev had quite a bit of vision, didn't he? He saw that giving us little doses of socialism, and now almost 50%, maybe more of the country is on the government payroll. And now one little push, and they'll tax us 100% and give us the food and the four-wall room, and the oats and the grits in the morning, and oats in the afternoon for our free entitled right of food. Just a little push. They'll just take everything we got.
Talk station.
740 at 55 KRCD Talk Station. A very happy Wednesday to you, made even more special because on the phone, Bob. Pleasure to have you on, sir.
It's nice to be with you.
You are all over the place. You were on Red Eye last week. Rush Limbaugh was talking about your new book, and the new book is called The Death of Liberalism. And I guess it all stems from a November 2010 post-election article you wrote in the Wall Street Journal called Liberalism and Autopsy, and I guess raised a bunch of eyebrows like, are you kidding me? I mean, is it really, really dying? Before we talk to why you've reached this conclusion and whether, in fact, you have reached that conclusion, can we talk about labels a little bit?
Sure.
We are, and I got a political science degree undergrad before I got my law degree, so I have a little bit more familiarity than a lot of people, but we never talk about, when we talk about socialism, fascism, liberalism, conservatism. As a libertarian, I can call myself a liberal in the Jeffersonian liberal notion, but I'm not really a liberal in American lexicon. So let's talk about what you mean when you say liberalism.
Well, it's in the first chapter of the book. I point out that I capitalized liberalism when I'm referring to American liberalism because it's essentially social democracy. The real liberal, the 19th century liberal, the liberal that you are and the liberal that I am and the liberal that George Washington was and the Founding Fathers, believes in empiricism, fundamental value of liberty, and we are real freedom-loving people, and that makes us conservatives today, liberals yesterday. This is all in the first chapter of my book, and I'd urge your readers who aren't familiar with the distinction to take a look at the book, The Death of Liberalism, and also, by the way, then we go on and talk about the civil wars in American liberalism, the evolution of American liberalism to the infantile leftists of the last 30 years, and then, of course, the stealth socialists. Liberalism is dead. But the stealth socialist, Barack Obama, has brought spending into the White House that is unbelievable, and a regulation that is unbelievable, and that's why he's going to be bounced in the fall.
Well, in the polling data, and I have a always perpetually raised eyebrow skepticism when it comes to polling data, because I'm certain, Bob, that you and I can agree all day long that it depends on who the pollster is and the question they ask. That often determines the outcome of the poll. But women tend to be favoring Romney now. I know men are still in favor of Romney over Barack Obama. Those margins seem to have shrunk of late. And all of that spell or suggest exactly what you're saying. We're going to throw them out in the fall, which is a good thing. But is liberalism as a concept and as an embraceable concept here in the United States still gone? Because you say since the early days of the 1950s, conservatism has been on the rise. How do we explain, Bill Clinton, the election of Barack Obama? How do we explain, that well, frankly, I would argue the baby boomers that embraced that sort of leftist socialist kind of mentality in the late 60s, early 70s, and they're in charge of everything now.
Well, first of all, Bill Clinton ended up saying the age of big government is over.
Well, what
remember, he really was glad to let the House of Representatives govern the United States and the Supreme Court. He just wanted to do, well, you know what he wanted to do. But no, I cite in the book polls that are very accurate. I have a whole array of polls, and they make it very clear that conservatism has gone up to 42% of the American people claim to be conservatives, and liberals has dropped down to 18 to 20%. It's been a 30-year decline. In fact, there are so few liberals in America that it's more popular to be a nudist or a bird watcher. In fact, there are more nude bird watchers in America than there are. And then I think that's what fetched Rush yesterday to speak out on behalf of my book. Take a look, check it out. But I think there's more nude bird watchers in America than there are liberals.
My guest today, Bob Terrell, Jr., author of Death of Liberalism. I'm going to take a quick break here in a second, Bob, but if what you say is true, and, it just gives me as much, and I hate to use the H word, hope, as I've had in a while, how is it that we don't hear a word of this on TV? I mean, the only people that hear about, the concepts of, in my case, libertarianism is on the radio, or conservative thought is on the radio. You don't see any of it on television.
Well, we don't hear it because people like me are restricted to talk radio, and thank God for talk radio. But
so all the bird watching nudists that you refer to are the ones that are in charge of content on local and national news, then?
That's right.
Wow.
They're in charge of the culture smog, as I call it.
Well, then I think what we need to do is a quick call to arms to all of those young conservative and libertarian-minded folks that might be attending college and thinking of a journalism career to pursue it and get in there and clean house.